Welcome to Traveler's Tales. I am your host, Greg Alonzo. Today I will be your guide through history as we take a look at Robert Louis Stevenson's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Before we begin, just a quick reminder that we post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, with special editions on Thursdays. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon to be notified each time we post new videos. Moving right along. Mythology tells us one thing, while archaeology tells us another. Why did Robert Louis Stevenson write The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Were the characters based on any real people? And what is the correct pronunciation of the doctor's name? Was Stevenson interested in the dualistic nature of human personalities? Today we will answer these questions as we take a look at this brilliant novella. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is one of the most famous pieces of English literature. It is also considered to be a defining book of the Gothic horror genre. The novella has also had a sizable impact on popular culture with the phrase Jekyll and Hyde. This is often used in the vernacular to refer to people with an outwardly good, yet sometimes shockingly evil nature. What inspired Stevenson to write the book? Stevenson had long been intrigued by the idea of how human personalities can reflect the interplay of good and evil. According to Stevenson, he stated that, "I believe that every human being has two sides to his nature, the good and the evil." While still a teenager, he developed a script for a play about William Brodie, who was also known as Deacon Brodie. He was a Scot who worked as a cabinet maker and a deacon of trade guilds and an Edinburgh city councillor. Brodie came under public scrutiny when it was discovered that he was also a successful burglar. Another possible point of inspiration may have also come from Stevenson's friendship with Edinburgh-based French teacher Eugene Chantrel. The teacher was convicted and executed for the murder of his wife in 1878. Chantrel, who had appeared to lead a normal life in the city, poisoned his wife with opium. Stevenson was present throughout the trial. As the evidence unfolded, he found himself aghast like Dr. Jekyll, aghast before the acts of Edward Hyde. Moreover, it was believed that the teacher had committed other murders in both Britain and France. It seems that he was fond of poisoning his victims at supper parties with a favorite dish of toasted cheese and opium. Let's begin with the correct pronunciation of the doctor's name. In Scotland, it would be Jekyll. Why then the mispronunciation? In the 1941 film starring Spencer Tracy, the actor mispronounced the name and it stuck. What about Dr. Jekyll? Was the character based on any real person? It seems that the only realism is that the name Jekyll was borrowed from the Reverend Walter Jekyll, a friend of Stevenson. Though Stevenson wrote such adventure stories as Treasure Island, Kidnapped, and The Black Arrow, it has also been pointed out that Stevenson was intrigued by the duality of human nature. It is quite clear that the author explores such themes as the inner struggle of good versus evil, human versus animal, and civility versus barbarism. The main point being that of an inner struggle between the one and the other. Failure to accept this tension results in evil, barbarity, or animal violence being projected onto others. Another school of thought proposes that the underlying theme was substance abuse and addiction to drugs. Stevenson had for a long time been plagued with breathing and lung problems, which were most likely from leukemia. How was the novella received by the general public? Public reaction to the story was immense. The book was sold as a paperback in the United Kingdom for a shilling. Books of this type were known as shilling shockers. In the United States, it sold for a penny, hence the term penny dreadful. The book was not only an immediate success, it was one of Stevenson's best-selling works. In America alone, over 250,000 copies were sold. This then led to many stage adaptations. Most of how we interpret the tale of Jekyll and Hyde comes from the stage adaptations. Several characters are added, including several females and elements of romance. The initial performance starred Richard Mansfield. After 10 successful weeks in London, the play was forced to close its doors over the hysteria of Jack the Ripper. Why? Mansfield could ingeniously change his appearance from Jekyll to Hyde while on stage. Though nothing more than a challenge in lighting and makeup, he horrified the audience with his transformation. This then led him to be considered a suspect in the Ripper serial murders. Nevertheless, Stevenson's tale of darker realism has left its indelible mark on fiction. According to Stevens, if I can find some way to curb that instinct, to tame it so that it is always under control, then perhaps we can eliminate bloodshed. This brings us to the end of Robert Louis Stevenson's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Traveler's Tales. If you enjoyed this video, please consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support will enable us to continue producing quality videos, and buying me a coffee always makes my day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Traveler's Tales. This really is the best way to help our channel grow. Until we meet again at the crossroads of folklore and fact, Cartistos.